long time.
Yes, ma'am. A lot of water under the bridge.
Some of the old songs, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Welcome back, guys. Today I'm doing some more MOT work on the Civic. At the minute I'm fitting a cat onto it just for MOT purposes, sort of thing, and this one is a genuine cat. So yeah. Also, I've collected a few more bits for the MOT, such as, well, not for the MOT, this is just for my personal liking, getting rid of that max powers bumper that everyone hates. I also got some rear trailing arm bushings that are at work, so other than fitting the cat now, I'm also going to be bringing a car in the garage, putting it up in the air at the back end, and pulling the rear trailing arms off, so on Monday I can go and work and press the old bushings out and put new ones in, because that's one of the major things on the MOT. I also got myself some headlight pigtails from the headlights that I had on before, which I don't even know where they are anymore. I think they're in the boot of the car. They had projector lights on, and they had cut the headlight wiring to adapt them to run the projectors and whatever. So I've got a wire in the side lights, and then put in some fresh bulbs around, and they'll also be coming on Monday. So just for the minute, I'm going to get on and fit this cat. I'm hoping that this cat fits, because this is off my old Spoon Civic. I don't know if any of you have seen it before. I'll put a photo in of it now. One of my favourite Civics. I'm going to hopefully offer this up, and it should fit. It is slightly longer. I'll offer it up there. You can see that it's slightly longer, but hopefully I can just squeeze it in enough. Even if I do push it back a few inches, it's not going to matter, because this gammy diffuser, it tucks in quite a bit anyway. I am soon going to be getting a full exhaust system from front to back with my 421 manifold I have in the garage, but I'm going to get it MOT'd, get it running and driving, then I'm going to put it on the dyno to show you guys how it's running, what power it's making, almost from how I brought the car, sort of thing. Oh, I thought that was going to happen. First bolt. Snapperoo. See how we get on with the rest of them. Managed to get the bottom two out with a slight persuasion from the old hammer. For the top one, the actual head of the bolt is also spinning with a nut, which these two didn't, so I'm going to have to undo off the manifold first and drop it down and see if I can get a spanner on both sides. Hopefully I can get it down far enough just to be able to get to both sides of this top bolt here. Oh yeah, we got loads of room to go back to fit that bigger cat in. The only reason I made a little patch just to make it a bit longer and make a bit of an angle on it was because my Spoon Civic had a N1 rep EG exhaust, and they are slightly different to an EK, so I had to make some small adjustments just so it ran straight underneath the car and as high up as I could possible, because that Civic was fairly low and it scraped on absolutely everything, so not the best. There she comes. Hopefully this one doesn't snap. What? Who'd have thought, eh? So just pulled the, I think it's like a sports cat that was on there. Oh, that's just a resonator. There's nothing even in there. So yeah, sports cat, as they say. Undone. One of the bolts actually came off without snapping. This hero right here, but the rest of them, no good. So I'm gonna have to find some new bolts for that. But judging by the length of it, they are almost the same length, but I do have room to slide the rest of the exhaust back because that monstrous bumper on the back isn't, it protrudes further than the exhaust, so that's good. I'm gonna slap this one back in and find some new bolts, and then I'll give you guys an update. So cat's all fitted up. It actually pushes the rest of the system up more because that's how I angled it when I put it on my spoon Civic. But I've replaced 2 bolts, top and bottom there. Managed to get one of them, and just lathered it in some instant gasket just to make sure it seals properly, because I didn't have a replacement gasket. But I'm going to be getting a full exhaust system soon anyway, so hopefully having a proper cat should make it a little bit quieter, because I do have neighbours now, and keep the MOT tester happy. So just tidied up my tools and put the Civic back on the ground. I'm going to drive it into my garage as tight up to the end as I can, and hopefully I've got enough. Well, hopefully I'm not still outside in the rain because it's now pissing it down, which is pretty savage, but just in time. I just cleaned the car up and got it all back inside, so we'll bring the car in and we'll get it jacked up. Oh, you guys will not believe my luck. I just went to start it up to bring the car in, and it was like dead. So now I'm gonna have to push it in. I wanted to hear what it sounded like as well with that cut on it now. But oh well, these things happen. What a nightmare. Just pulled the battery out of the Civic. I'll take it to work Monday and charge it for the day whilst I'm pressing in and out the bushes for the rear trailing arms. So all I'm going to do now is just loosen off the wheels off both sides, get it jacked up in the air, pull the wheels off, put axle stands underneath it, and then we'll start WD-40 everything up, wire, brush everything, unbutt off we can, and then start pulling it all apart. Just going to give each bit of thread I can see, the nut heads and the caliper bolts and that, just a quick wire brush off to get all the loose dirt off. And then I'll hit it all with a squirt of WD-40. I'll show you guys the reason I'm changing these bushes. You can see, oh, it's a bit hard with this camera. See in there, they're all really perished. Probably the same bushes that in the factory. It's got stock suspension on it. The only thing it does have on this car really is like a bumper and some max powers features, like a stop start button that only starts it. So I'll get on and do that, and then I'll start loosening everything off. So just a personal tip from experience. Before you start any job, lay out all your tools beside you where you can reach it. Especially when you're working on a floor like this, because you can guarantee you'll go under there, lay under there, start doing something, and you've forgotten your spanner or something. So you've got to climb out, hunt for your tools, and then yeah, just a bit of an inconvenience. So I just lay all the tools that I think I may need, and some, because you can guarantee you're always going to forget at least one tool. So now I've started on one side. I'm going to do one side at a time, and I'll just I've wire brushed everything, hit it with WD-40. So now I'll just start pulling it all apart. I'm praying that we're not going to have many bolts snap, because I know that some will snap, especially like the little 10 mils or the 12 mils that hold like brake lines, ABS lines, whatever have you. So yeah, let's get into it. Another little tip that I find handy when working on a car: if I remove a bolt or something and I can pull the item out of the way, I always tend to just put the bolt like a few threads back into the place where it come from, so that you don't have just a pile of bolts somewhere. I know, like, once you do it over and over again you can memorise where bolts go, but if it's like your first time doing something, just it's always easy to put the bolt back in the hole, and then you never forget where it comes from. So I just pulled the bolt out of my shock that runs through the little control arm, and the bush inside there is absolutely obliterated. So it looks like I'm going to have to order some uprated rear lower control arms while I'm at it, to be honest. Because there's no point buying stock ones, because I'm going to do some track days in this car. So it looks like I'm going to have to pull it all apart and then wait for the parts to turn up before it all goes back together. And then we'll just see how it goes. And maybe if even the front toe arms, the adjustable toe arms for the front of the trailing arms are a bit dodgy, I might order them as well and do it all in one hit. But we'll just have to see how much it costs first. So I'll just carry on soldering through it, and then once I've pulled it off, I'll give you guys an update of how many bolts have snapped and what I'm going to do already. So, quick update. It's not going well. The bolt that runs through this, I don't know if you can see it too well because the lighting's pretty bad in here. See that bolt that snapped there? That's what holds the lower control arm into the rear trailing arm, and it's just snapped clean off. I think I'm going to need to go and get a grinder and some more ammunition, and probably a friend to come and help me. And I'll catch up with you guys when I've probably broke some more bolts. This is not going well. So, guys and girls, it is a new day. I'm feeling a little bit more motivated today. We're going to pull the rear trailing arm off the Civic. I think it was Saturday that I was last filming, and we were doing some work on this, and a lot of the bolts snapped, and I just wasn't having a good time. It started raining, and as you can see, I'm about 2 foot into my garage, and that's as far as I can get inside, so I was getting wet legs, bolts were snapping, and the morale was just dying. So today I've got more tools, I've got a grinder, so we're going to just see how far we can get today. Hopefully I'm planning by the end of today to have the rear bumper off and the rear trailing arms completely off, whether they come off with the inner camber, whether they come off with the rear trailing arms or the front toe adjustment arms. So as long as I can get all of it off, whether bolt snap or not, and I can either dissect it and take it all apart properly at work. I think I am going to start today with pulling the rear bumper off, just because while I'm under the car there probably isn't a lot of room, and it will let more light in once it's out of the way, and we'll just have a quick inspection of what it's like under the bumper. Hopefully that's everything. That is one crusty rear bash bar. The This bash bar has seen better days. There's a patch of weld there. If you look along the bottom of it, I don't know if you guys can see it, I'll grab a torch. It is made just out of weld along the bottom of it. Proper pigeon poo. So I'll be probably getting a new replacement one of those, or just take it off for the minute. So yeah, the differences between max powers and just a stock EJ6, I think it was, but I got it off a pre-facelift car, so I'm hoping that they are the same facelift and pre-facelift, as my EM1 is a facelift 2000, so we'll just see if it fits. Remove the mud flaps that are on it. See those there? They're stopping it from going far enough forward. So just wet the mud flap off. I'm hoping that this will fit. I wouldn't know what the difference between a free face and a facelift would be on the rear end, but well, that does fit. Oh man, decent. Excuse the exhaust, that is not going to live on there for long. Some sort of motorbike response, but this is just a test fit to see if it does fit before I paint it, because I am planning on painting it myself. And I do have a gorgeous, it's the EM1 VTI S rear lip, so what you'd call a spat. On the splitter it comes down a little bit further, has a nice little flick on it, so that's good. Get it painted up. So now I know the bumper fits, I'm just going to put that to the side. I'll probably put the Max Powers rear bumper up for sale or something. I don't want it and I'll never use it again, so if you want a Max Powers Civic coupe rear bumper, hit me up. My Instagram is the same as my YouTube account, at Willis James, 2 S's on the end. Yeah, let's pull this back off and we'll get underneath it and start getting these rear trailing arms off. Once again, before you start this job again, because I've got to take my tools to work and back every day, I'll get all my tools out, get myself set up, and then we'll crack on. Running into more issues now. There's a bracket that connects the handbrake cable to the caliper, and I'm trying to disconnect the handbrake cable from the caliper so I can leave the caliper attached to the car and then pull the handbrake cable with the trailing arm. But the bracket bolts are so rotten, I put a 12 on there and it just started rounding it. I hammered an 11 on there and it's round again. Oh, such a nightmare. The Civic has given me a proper run for my money. I managed to get a couple more bolts out. The last bolt I really need to undo, the whole trailing arm. That one there, and I've just snapped it. I've soaked it in WD-40 for like 2 days now. And because it's a captive nut inside the chassis, there's no way you can really get like a heat gun or anything on it, specifically like on the nut, or the captive nut on the back, so oh my god. Ideally I need to cut it off with a grinder, but it's like 8 o'clock now and I live in an estate, so I can't really just get the grinder revved up. So I'm going to have to find other ways of getting it out really. I'll give the other side a go. And then if not, tomorrow straight after work I'll come straight home like 6 o'clock and just get the grinder and cut what I need to cut and then shut it off for the day. This Civic's really proven to do me head in. And it makes it such a nightmare when you've got the car 2 foot off the ground and you've got to squeeze underneath it and you can't really get a good leverage or anything. But all the joys really. Ideally I should have taken it back to work before I brought it home, but I thought it'd be easier for me to do like evening work on it, but that's just the way it goes, I suppose. So we're gonna have to solder on and get it done now anyway, but we're gonna have to cut some other bolts and then get them drilled out. Not good. So I don't think it could get any worse. I attempted the passenger side front toe adjustment arm and I thought it was going to snap, so it started coming undone. I was like, oh brilliant, that's great. And then this happened. I don't know how well you guys can see it, but it started coming undone. And see the thread on that side is coming out, but the actual bush, the core of the bush, is stuck on the bolt. So as I'm undoing it, it's just pushing this whole bush and the bolt out away because the bush is deteriorated. Oh. This car is gonna be fucking... I don't even know what to do now. I'm just gonna have to keep on doing it and hopefully I can get that arm out and I just pull the rest of it off and deal with it once I've got it all apart. I'll probably have to end up cutting it out completely, welding up a fresh captive knot on the backside with a new bolt and reinforce the bit the bolt actually brackets to. Same with the other side, because I've snapped it. I'm going to have to cut it out, drill it out, or cut a hole in the bottom of the subframe or the chassis and then put a new captive knot in there. Not keen. Alright guys, so I'm going to call it a night for today. I have managed to get, let me torch, both the shock absorber bolt and this rear or inner blower control arm bolt. I did snap this rear control arm, trailing arm bolt that goes into the control arm. It's a bit upsetting, but I did manage to get the two out of the rear bush or mid bush, whatever. And because I wasn't able to get this one out, I did manage just to get this bolt out here, so that is free out there. I just need to finish removing the caliper, some of the handbrake cables and the ABS line, and hopefully I'll just undo the top camber arm and it should all come off. So we're looking positive for this side. It is just a shame about this malarkey going on there. The other side's a bit more of a tricky one, but we'll get on that one tomorrow and I'll finish putting the rest of this off tomorrow. So day two on the Civic. We are getting somewhere. We've test fitted the bumper fit, so that's a positive. I was hoping that the rear trailing arms weren't going to be this hard to remove, but it does look, most of these rear arms are stock and they probably haven't been off before, so I'm probably the first person who's got to deal with this. And it is very common for Civics to be like this and cars of this age. My S13 was a lot worse than this, but we are making progress. Slow progress, but progress nonetheless. We'll call it a day for today, and we'll carry on with day 3 tomorrow. So I'll see you guys there. So, day 3. Trailing arms are off, but I had to cut them off. Front toe arm, I had to cut, bend, and pry it off. If you look at the state of these trailing arms, every single nut and bolt either rounded or snapped. I had to cut the brake bracket, the brake line bracket, cut the handbrake lines off because I couldn't remove them from the caliper. This inner, the front camber, toe arm adjustment bolt. So basically, now we've got even more problems because I'm going to have to find a way of repairing all of that, because that is the inner of the bush and the stud's still stuck in that captive nut. So I've had to bend that out, and it's almost similar on the other side. I did manage to undo that bolt most of the way, but once again it was stuck. So the inner of this bolt, which is the the passenger side of the car is still stuck inside here. They seized inside of the bush, so I had to cut the head off and this back side of the bolt and then just pull it down. So basically my plan of attack now is to find myself some new rear trailing arms, new lower control arms, new camber arms, new tow arms, and everything in between basically. And then I'm going to have to figure out a way of getting new mounts or something for the chassis wise to actually be able to bolt the new trailer arms I get back to the car, because they are savaged. On a positive note, whilst I am trying to source parts to get this thing off axle stands, I can spray the rear bumper. I have a splitter, like a lip bump coming on the way, which is good. I've got the headlight wiring to sort out, put new bulbs in, sort a few other things for MOT out, such as like fog light bulbs. I have a bucket seat rail on the way, so we can possibly fit the one of my bucket seats for the driver's side. I've got enough room to squeeze it in here, because can't get the car outside anymore, can we? What else should we do? Just tidy it up basically, I suppose. And yeah. Damn. Feel a bit broken after that. It was all going too well. It's just one of those jobs. All I wanted to do was change the rear trailing arm bushes for MOT purposes, and I have just fell into a rabbit hole every time. And I've brought front arms, I've brought engine mounts, I've got an ECU, manifold, I've got so many parts that we can bolt on and actually start getting into this car. But no, spent all the money in the wrong places by the look of it. So yeah, till next time. I'm gonna have to leave it on that note, and that's gonna be it for this video. We have managed to fit the cat. Didn't even get to hear it because the battery was flat and it's at work on charge now. I have got the rear trailing arms off, but obviously not the way I wanted them to come off. So now my car is stuck on axle stands until I find and source new parts. So I hope you've enjoyed this episode, because I haven't. Well, I always enjoy working on cars, but it is just a shame that that's the way it has come. But these things do happen when you're working on old cars. So I guess I'll see you in the next one.